Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and today we're back again with another Danmachi Battle Chronicle video, and we are one day away from the release of the game. Of course, at this point in time, unfortunately, we still have no information about the pre-download or a release time just yet. We're still in the dark regarding that. However, I do believe that by the time this video goes out, or even before this video goes out, there might be something available to us. We'll have to wait and see on that front. In the meantime, however, we do have a developer interview to read through, and there is a lot of information in here from what I've seen, so we're gonna go through the entirety of it. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more Danmachi Battle Chronicle content, and let me know in the comment section down below, based on this interview, what are you guys looking forward to the most. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. But yes, from what I've seen, this interview has a lot of information. I scrolled down a little bit, and there is a little bit of information that I feel is quite interesting, and a lot of information that is generally going to be very telling for us, I feel, when it comes to the development of this game. So big shout out to the Game8 for getting this interview done with the developers, of course, right? And let's start looking into what they have to say about the game. Aiming Inc. will release the game Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Battle Chronicle, or Dancro on August 24th. This time we were able to hear from director Shinya Nakabayashi and operational director Takahiro Akaiwa about Dancro, which is about to be released. In this article, we will introduce the features of the game, the story behind it, and the thoughts of the development team. Introduction of the two interviewees. Thank you for all your hard work right before the release today. First of all, please give us a brief self-introduction. Mr. Shinya Nakabayashi is, I am Nakabayashi, the director of the development side of the game, and Takahiro Akaiwa is in charge of the operational direction. Nakabayashi is mainly in charge of the in-game part, and Akaiwa is mainly in charge of the out-of-game part. So I guess Akaiwa is doing all the marketing stuff, all the promotional material and all that jazz, and Nakabayashi is pretty much directing the game, handling all the gameplay side of things, the events and stuff like that primarily. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for your time today. Very much appreciate these guys for, of course, doing the interview, right? At the end of the day, it is really nice, of course. So Dancro is where you can enjoy 3D action and the unseen side of characters. Game8 says there have been games in the past based on Danmachi. Where have you been? Of course, Danmachi Memoria Freese, the GOAT, the GOAT in my personal opinion. But yeah, of course, there's not just only been Danmachi Memoria Freese. You have Infinite Combat, which was a disaster show. You had Horario Rhapsodia, which was a great premise. It was a great premise, but it didn't amount to much. And then Cross Historia, which was also something that was very popular in Japan, especially as a browser game, but unfortunately it shut down earlier this year in April. So of course there's been a lot of Danmachi games when you think about it. So of course this is a very fair question to ask in terms of like, where do you position yourself, especially with all these previous Danmachi games, right? Nakabayashi goes on to talk about the appeal of Danmachi and its story and worldview, and I think it's something you'll find in other game titles, but one of the things that makes it particularly appealing is that it's an action game that matches the story. Of course, if you look at the previous games that we've had for Danmachi, they've all been either turn-based RPGs or they've been very chibi models with like a little bit of action involved, but it's very basic. So I guess that's one of those things that, you know, credit where it's due. We've got ourselves a proper 3D action Danmachi game here, you know. So he goes on to say that it is one of their strengths, of course, right? The points I would like everyone to pay attention to are the 3D action part and the Battle Royale content called the Magic Stone Competition, which is one of the ways to play. I don't know if I'll ever call it the Magic Stone Competition. I'm always going to call it the Battle Royale game mode, in all honesty. Game8 goes on to talk about the 3D action was very powerful even after watching the PV. Attack motion was different for each character and the character likeness came out. In that sense, I think Danmachi fans will be the main player base for this work, but are there any content or ideas that existing fans can enjoy in the game? Nakabayashi goes on to talk about how they've managed to recreate the anime and the original story of the characters, and you can touch the casual daily life of the characters, such as sleeping or reading a book on the home screen. So of course the home screen, we've known that you can change the home screen from Hestia to have like Ryu, to have Seer, to have the likes of Bell, and so on and so forth. So I think that'll be a nice addition for sure, right? You can have your favorite character on your home screen, right? Of course, unfortunately, my favorite character is not on the home screen just yet, but hopefully in the future we get them. But yeah, it'll be very nice, and I think that's one thing that they're mentioning here, is that it's a function that will allow you to experience the daily lives of these characters and see a side of them that you've never seen before as well. In terms of ingenuity, we respected the Danmachi IP and made this work so that the image of that the Danmachi fans have of the character and the image of the original Don Crow would match, basically. So they're trying to match up, obviously, the characterization from the Danmachi light novels, anime, and stuff with, of course, what they're doing in Danmachi Battle Chronicle as well. The appearance of an original story seems to be a very happy point for fans. By the way, this work is a game adaptation of the Danmachi anime series, but will all the characters appear in the anime that appear in the anime will come into the game, such as the adventures and gods? In terms of playable characters, unfortunately, not all characters have been implemented due to the long history of the IP, but most of the main characters in the story will appear. So this is one point that I obviously have noted multiple times in recent videos, right? The lack of Freya familiar, the lack of Anya, Lunor, and Chloe, even though I'm pretty sure that the Anya model is in-game technically for the story purposes, right? And so on and so forth. There's a lot of these characters that are still missing from the game, right? And I expect to see them being added in the future at some point, of course, right? I made the 3D model without paying attention to the cost. Okay, fair enough. I that's a little bit concerning, mate. I'm not gonna lie. So there were parts I was making it while the designer was being scolded. By the way, I myself like big, strong, formidable foes. So I've been thinking that it would be nice if Astraeus and Fryn would have been implemented as playable characters in the future. Oh my god, playable Fryn will be insane. Astraeus is definitely a cool thing, but Fryn, bro, that's calling for the banner to not be summoned on. Honestly, that is gonna be the least selling banner. You do not do that. Introduce her as a free-to-play character, sure. No way you can introduce her as a summonable character. Nobody's gonna summon for her. Literally 0 people will summon for her. Honestly, it'll be insane. Okay. There were many other characters other than the Hestia family and Loki family that were introduced. Coupled with the fact that you can see a new side of the character in the original story, I'm looking forward to the game as a fan. We would like to keep adding original stories. For example, we would like to include original events in monthly updates with the very nice. Okay, I got very excited there. Original events in monthly updates, and it'll be under the supervision of Omori Sensei. Yes, okay, that's perfect news. So this was obviously a big concerning point for so many fans, that original events would not be supervised with Omori Sensei, with him taking a back step from Dan Mimo. A lot of people were concerned about this point, but I think this is a fantastic piece of news for us in order to understand exactly what the situation is, of course, with Battle Chronicle, in that, you know, we don't know if we're going to be getting events that would be supervised with Omori Sensei, or is he going to come maybe for only the anniversaries. This is a great piece of news, and it'll be super nice to see how involved he actually gets. Of course, that's going to be fantastic. Enriched elements such as battle royale and high difficulty quests. I think that the core fans and gamers will be able to progress through the story in a relatively short period of time. Are you there? 3, 2, 1. Nakabayashi goes on to talk about how they're envisioning the Battle Royale content in which players can compete against each other for Falna, of course, or Magic Stones as they call it. And basically, when the story quest is over, I think Battle Royale will become the main game. And I think that's true. I mean, that is the end game, technically. I love the fact that they're already talking about the end game a little bit here, of course, right? That's one of the core features of any gacha game. End game is like always like, how is the end game? I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people complain about games like Genshin not having end game and stuff like that, right? So, of course, Battle Royale being an endgame makes sense because it's the main form of PvP. You also have the 3v3 PvP mode. You'll obviously have the guild raid battles and stuff like that, right? So it's to be expected that, you know, these sort of content will become the endgame for Danmachi Battle Chronicle. In terms of main quest, there are 3 difficulty levels: normal, hard, and very hard. The level of difficulty is quite high when progressing through the very hard part of the launch, and in future updates, the very hard part of the main story will also increase. So I think it'll be one of the elements to replay. So this is something that is to be expected even in Dan Mimo when we had the normal, hard, and very hard difficulties. Certain stages were impossible to clear originally. I remember like the Mamma Mia stage in episode Ryu was difficult as hell. And then you had the Hyakinto stage and stuff like that. I think that's what's going to happen here, where certain stages, like the boss stages specifically, will be very tricky to clear. In fact, it might be very similar to what we had in the closed beta test against the Minotaur, where it was really hard for us to clear. So hopefully, I think that there needs to be a balance where normal and hard are like easy to clear, but very hard might be a little bit more trickier unless you get some of the more modern units potentially, right? So yeah, I thought it would be mainly battles, but there are also main quests. By the way, you also introduce content such as Magic Stone contests and raid battles. So Magic Stone Scramble is a real-time battle that can be played by 8 players, collecting Magic Stones and everything. A countdown occurs when a certain number is collected, 100 that is, of course. And once the countdown starts, the person in first place either keeps running away or fights off other players. Conversely, players with few magic stones can steal magic stones from other players, of course, to try and get them higher basically as well. If a player kills me, will I be retired from the match? No. So you respawn, of course. You will drop a number of magic stones, but then you will be able to respawn immediately. They go on to ask about raid battles. Of course, this is something that we've known about since May. We know that there is going to be a form of raid battles which is cooperative, of course, right? I am so looking forward to this. I prefer the idea of co-op raid battles more than PvP. So hearing that we're getting it, you know, back then when we heard about it for the first time was amazing. So of course, they're talking about here. At the very beginning, regarding raid battles, it's a cooperative content in which a party of 4 players together face a huge enemy and complex gimmicks. Very nice. I love the idea of that. At the very beginning, a raid battle where you can fight against a certain hierarchy master that appeared in the anime is scheduled to appear. So please look forward to it. Certain hierarchy master. I assume it's either the silverback gorilla or minotaur. I want to say it's most likely the minotaur. I don't know. That's a bit confusing. Raid battle is a content that will be added in a future update. So it's not going to be available on launch, but it will be available probably like 2-3 weeks after launch, most likely, I'd assume. It looks really tough, but when I was playing through the main quest to see the stories, there were some times when it seemed like I needed some control techniques. Do you have any ideas that so that even people who are not good at action games can enjoy the story? We have an auto mode so that even those who are not good at action can enjoy the story easily as well. Characters need to be erased to some extent, but if you challenge them in auto mode, I think you'll be able to clear normal surprisingly easy. That's good. I think auto needs to be focused on clearing like normal and hard very easily. Maybe hard less so, but very hard you need to be the one taking reins, I feel. I do believe that to be the case. That said, if you keep playing with auto only, it's too hard to resist. We've created small walls such as mid bosses, and only there are break systems and defense rolls that are used instead of auto. We're devising ways to enjoy the action such as fighting. Therefore, it is designed to be enjoyed by those who are not good at action games and those who are good at it. Okay, so break systems, the system that interrupts the activation of powerful techniques by the enemy. We know about this. So yeah, break system we've seen before. And defense rolls, a role that often has excellent performance in terms of durability. So the tank character, basically, they're talking about the tank character. All right, they're going to talk about now the events planned after release. Okay, I think we'll be holding an event once or twice a month to dig deeper into the characters, including seasonal events. First of all, we are planning an event with the theme of Haruhime. So Haruhime is going to be our first UR, surely, or it has to be something like that. Okay, that's a lot more interesting. This interview has gotten very, very interesting. Okay. After that, we plan to hold seasonal events, so I hope you enjoy it. Also, although it's not an event, I think we will receive a lot of opinions and requests, so we will update it while being conscious of the opinions that were the most numerous. Okay. Woo! Haruhime is the first event. That's going to be very, very nice. All right. CBT was held in March. Okay, so how was the reaction from players here? We received 4 to 5 times as many applications as we expected. I am very grateful. We received enthusiastic reviews and many opinions from the winners, and many people played to the fullest during the CBT. Of course, that was I was one of them, of course, right? So I think it was good to do CBT. Regarding the results of the CBT, I think it would be good if you see the CBT report posted on the official website. There was one? I didn't even know about this. I did not know about this at all. Let me just check. Oh, wow. There was an actual report. I had no idea about this. I mean, we saw this in the live stream as well, technically. So this is the same thing we've seen already in the live stream. I didn't know they actually had a report like this. Okay. 105 people cleared it. I was one of them, by the way. The fastest clear time was 90 seconds and average clear time was 2:15. I would say, yeah, I was like around that mark. I would say I was like 180 seconds. I was like 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes for me, 2.5 3 minutes long. Yeah, this makes sense, of course, using all of these. Okay, makes sense. Wow. All right, fair enough. That's a lot of information there. We might have to do a separate video in regards to that. Maybe. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. I think that the new issues and improvements have been found in implementation of CBT, but what improvements have been made in the release? Okay, let's see here. We have also implemented improvements based on information gathered on Google Cloud called exit points, as well as improvements to the camera work, which we asked for, of course, right? We have also received many opinions about the UI, and we have also improved the feel of operations, such as parts that are difficult to understand, expressions, and button response. Okay, that's good. you used Google Cloud for analysis during CBT, so this was allowing them to use analysis. This is, of course, more data analytics and how they actually look into using data through SQL and other tools, basically making it very, very simple. But yeah, this is a very cool way of going about it. If you're looking into getting into data analytics and all that jazz, I would highly recommend reading this part of the article, of course, right? If you're looking into game development, and especially if you're going into game analysis and you're working as an operation manager, of course, like Akaiwa is, it makes sense for them to use tools like these to make sure that things are happening like this, basically. So yeah, I will do my best to say that people will enjoy, will say that Dankro is a game where you can control the characters in Danmachi with a high degree of freedom. I would be happy if you all strongly recommend it. Create your own party and enjoy this work. Listen, I'll be doing that for sure. We will be sure for that. Dankro will be released on 24th August. We've been improving and developing the game throughout the business company's business divisions, so please give it a try. However, since it is an operation type game, we believe that our mission is to operate and develop a game that everyone can play for a long time rather than releasing it as a goal. And by operating it for a long time, I would like to work with publishers and as well as developers to create activities that will invigorate Danmachi as a whole. Absolutely cool. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I'm very, very excited for this. Honestly, it's gonna be so cool. Honestly, it is gonna be super cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm very excited about it. Of course, we now know that there is going to be the first event is going to be with Haruhime, and the events are going to be you know, obviously supervised by obviously Omori sensei. This is really good news. Of course, playable free as well. I mean, people who are excited about that can be excited about that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I think I'm very excited about the game now. You know, a lot of people's fears regarding Omori sensei not being that involved with this game does seem to be on the, I wouldn't say fault side, because he might not be as proactive as he was in Danmimo, but he'll still be observing and helping out with the development of the events in game. So seasonal events, Haruhime event is coming up first and foremost, and of course we're getting our obviously more events with Omori sensei under the helm. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comment section down below what do you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more Danmachi Battle Chronicle content, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.